Who cares about 4K graphics and ray tracing when you've got the magic of 8-bit pixels? In 2025, NES Homebrew developers are proving that fun is timeless. These games might look simple, but they're packed with creativity, challenge, and nostalgia. Whether you grew up with NES or discovered it later, these 20 homebrew titles will remind you why old-school gaming hits differently. Let's jump into the pixel-filled time machine and explore them together. Malasombra. This newest game is shaping up to be one of those retro love letter NES homebrews that hits just right. You play as Piru, a humble apprentice magician whose wedding day turns into total chaos. The evil sorcerer Malasombra crashes in, curses all the wedding guests into frogs, and kidnaps your beloved Astrid. Seriously, the frog part is hilarious. So yep, you're on a rescue mission, but not the run-and-gun kind. You've got to hunt down pages of a forbidden grimoire, a magic book, to unlock rad powers and even shapeshift into animals. Use those transformations smart to handle obstacles, enemies, puzzles, all that adventure stuff. The visuals are gorgeous pixel art, music that feels nostalgic but fresh, and the gameplay mixes action, exploration, magic, and secrets. Plus, the devs went all out. It's fully built for real NES hardware, comes with physical cartridge options, and has a digital version too. If you love old NES vibes with serious heart, this one's gonna be special. Orange Island. Sometimes all you need is a game that takes you back to basics, and Orange Island totally nails that vibe. This isn't just a typical rescue quest. Here, you bounce between 4 friends, each with their own quirky skills. You solve interesting puzzles and explore a mysterious island that feels both cozy and packed with secrets. The music is pure chiptune comfort. The art's got those soft, chunky pixels, and there's always something new hiding behind every tree or inside every cave. You'll find towns, shops, quests, side missions, bosses, more than just go right, kill monsters. The world is non-linear, so you can explore, backtrack, find secrets, and unlock power in your own way. If you love exploring retro looks and games with heart, Orange Island might be one of the most charming NES homebrews you'll want to play. Haunted Halloween 87. The newest chapter in the Haunted Halloween series, which is to be released this October, and it brings more spooky fun. You play as Donnie and Tammy, 2 teens who faced evil before, and now they've teamed up with a witch against new threats in the town of Possum Hollow. You can do cool moves like wall jumps, blocking attacks, and dash attacks. There are broomstick rides where you fly around and throw crab apples at enemies. Plus, you can upgrade your power moves by collecting spell books, and even smash objects that deal area damage if you potion buff them. The game feels classic, with retro-style graphics and fun challenges, but also fresh because of all these new mechanics. If you like action, creepy vibes, and good old-school difficulty, this one's worth checking out. Changeable Guardian Estique. It's impossible not to be blown away the first time you fire up Changeable Guardian Estique. This game is a total love letter to everything wild and over the top in classic NES shooters. Right away, you feel the sci-fi pulse. Space pirates have gone wild, iconic cities are under siege, and your only hope is piloting the Estique, a ship that swaps between sleek fighter jet and hulking robot at will. Switching forms isn't just a gimmick either. It's key to survival, whether you're dodging tight cavern walls or holding your own against massive mecha bosses. Enemies swarm the screen in all sorts of clever patterns, and pulling off a sudden transformation mid-fight to absorb damage or unleash a flashy power attack is just plain satisfying. The game's got a health bar instead of one-hit deaths, thank the retro gods, giving you just enough time to recover and strategize before the next wave crashes in. Super Tilt Bro. Sometimes a homebrew game comes along and just rewrites the rulebook. Super Tilt Bro pulls that off and then some. At first glance, this looks like someone tried to cram the spirit of Smash Brothers into a tiny NES cartridge, but trust me, it's way more than just a tribute. The fighting is shockingly slick, every character feels like totally unique, and there's serious depth hiding behind those chunky sprites. The biggest surprise? This little game supports online play with a Wi-Fi enabled cartridge, letting you throw down with old rivals or make new ones halfway across the world, straight from NES hardware, no less. There's a solo arcade mode that dishes out cool platforming and tough AI smackdowns, but the real action happens in frantic four-way brawls. Tightly tuned controls, clever stage design, and pixel art that pops Super Tilt Bro is the ultimate what-if for NES fans who always wanted to settle scores the retro way. Choo Choo Mimic. To be honest, Choo Choo Mimic is one of those NES games that just makes you smile right from the first screen. It's super easy to pick up, but every level throws in just enough twists to keep you scratching your head and laughing as you try to outsmart those clueless knights. Instead of typical platforming or action, you're a mimic chest plotting your next snack, setting goofy traps, and watching knights stumble around and sometimes straight into your jaws. It comes up with chill music, cute graphics, and a laid-back pace, making this game a perfect pick for when you just want to relax, experiment, and feel a little mischievous. It's simple fun, bite-sized puzzles, and lots of personality packed into a classic NES vibe. Courier is a cyberpunk adventure game for the NES. In this game, you play as Conrad, a courier who wakes up in a hotel with no memory of what's happening or who you are. To survive, you must navigate through various areas, hacking into systems, battling enemies, and upgrading your gear. The game features a unique hacking mechanic where you guide a beam through a maze to unlock various essentials to help your progress. You can acquire credits by looting enemies and taking on jobs from seedy employers, then head to the nearby shop to upgrade your gear. Better guns, stronger armor, and more impressive tech will allow you to better protect yourself from those who are out to get you. Courier offers a blend of exploration, action, and strategy, all wrapped in a gritty, cyberpunk aesthetic. Alwa's Awakening. If exploring mysterious new lands and solving magical puzzles gets you buzzing, Alwa's Awakening is the NES game you've been dreaming about. You're dropped into the shoes of Zoe, a heroine with a trusty staff and a knack for casting spells that change how you tackle every room. Each interconnected part of the world feels special, with pixel-perfect designs and clever puzzles that never repeat themselves. Sure, there's classic platforming and tough baddies, but the real kicker is learning creative uses for your three main spells: making blocks to bridge gaps, floating up with bubbles, or blasting foes and doors with lightning. The map is massive and full of secrets, so backtracking for upgrades feels rewarding, not tedious. Plus, checkpoints and warps are sprinkled throughout, keeping frustration low while the challenge stays high. Alwa's Awakening. nails that modern Metroidvania on ancient hardware vibe, and delivers pure retro magic with every jump and spell you cast. Panzer III. This homebrew adventure throws you into a story that's equal parts wild and witty, starring Panzer and his wildly mismatched band of heroes. Every character packs their own signature moves. Think flamethrowers, magic arrows, and plenty of punchy attacks. And swapping between them is half the fun, as you face new boss fights, secret packed levels, and plenty of hazards. The gameplay throws curveballs with tricky jumping puzzles, enemy waves that pile on fast, and loot shops where you upgrade your squad for even bigger challenges. Best bit? The dialogue is loaded with tongue-in-cheek humour, taking jabs at the fantasy genre while keeping every adventure fresh and unpredictable. Add in a lively chiptune soundtrack, an eye-popping pixel art, and Panzer III is a riotous platformer that never lets you catch your breath.
Grimy little hands on the most disgusting game ever made. Garbage Pail Kids, Mad Mike, and the quest for stale gum. Defeat dweebs with diaper-enhanced butt slams. Axe and ooze your way across the globe to recover the secret.
Garbage Pail Kids. Have you ever thought of what it'd be like if those old Garbage Pail Kids trading cards you used to hoard suddenly burst to life in full-on NES platforming chaos? That's exactly what Garbage Pail Kids, Mad Mike, and the quest for stale gum delivers. Pure, off-the-wall adventure with plenty of gross-out gags and retro flair. You switch between 4 misfit heroes, each packing their own weird powers, and blast your way through 6 totally unique, secret-filled worlds. There's dinosaur lands, crazy cityscapes, horror castles, and more, all packed with nods to classic cards and goofy humor. The game never gets stale, tossing in trading cards to collect, trade, and use as power-ups, so there's always something new to try and some wild ability to unlock. Underneath the gross-out laughs, you'll find tight controls and genuinely fun platforming. It's the kind of NES homebrew that's both a nostalgia trip and a brilliant modern surprise. The Adventures of Panzer II. The moment Panzer II boots up, it's all energy and unpredictability. Instead of a hero always saving the land, you're playing through really strange levels with crazier characters, swapping your squad like a pile of trading cards. Every few screens, the game throws something unexpected. Maybe a funny minigame, maybe a shopkeeper with weird jokes, or maybe a boss who's more about laughs than fighting tough. What hooks you is how each level is different, mixing classic NES platforming with RPG-style upgrades and surprises hidden everywhere. The controls are simple but tight, and the pace is wild. A quick dash here, a power-up there, never getting stuck in repeats. If you want a platformer that's packed with silly personality and loves to break the rules, Panzer II brings non-stop weird fun and might be the most unpredictable NES homebrew out there. Full Quiet. Nothing about Full Quiet feels ordinary, and that's what makes every step through its pixelated wilderness is so surprising. The game throws you into a world where silence is dangerous, and nearly every screen hides something unexpected, like glitchy signals, strange puzzles, or enemies that creep out of the darkness at night. You're not just running and jumping, you're solving radio mysteries, exploring tangled forests, and piecing together clues like a real detective. There's this cool tension between freedom and fear, since you can wander off in any direction, but you never know what's waiting. The atmosphere changes with weather and time, and sometimes you stumble into moments that feel almost dreamlike, with echoes from radios or weird encounters with mysterious woodland figures. Full Quiet isn't just an NES adventure. It's a full-blown survival mystery. Best played alone, lights off, letting each secret reveal itself on its own terms. Arm Wrestling Classic. Arm Wrestling Classic isn't trying to be the most complex NES game. It's here for pure arcade fun and muscle-powered nostalgia. You step up as Barry Biceps, ready to face off with a quirky cast of arm wrestling champs, each more ridiculous than the last. The matches themselves are all about timing and button mashing, with each opponent sporting funny moves, wild personalities, and special attacks that'll keep you guessing. This game keeps things fresh by tossing you into all sorts of colourful locations and mixing up the action with a story mode versus battles, and even a password system so you can save your progress. Some matches are downright silly, but when you finally topple the toughest rival, it's strangely satisfying. Whether you're showing off those reflexes solo or challenging friends for bragging rights, Arm Wrestling Classic is a simple, rowdy homebrew that brings the challenge, laughs, and old-school charm. Dungeons and Doomknights. Something truly different happens the minute Dungeons and Doomknights starts up. You're Artix, a paladin on a quest against the evil Doomknight. But it's far more than just swinging an axe and saving the day. The game swaps between overhead exploring, creepy dungeons, and hilarious side-scrolling action, never letting you settle into one pattern for too long. There are NPCs cracking jokes, secrets to stumble into, and wild boss fights, not to mention some clever ability upgrades that let you find even more hidden areas. You'll even take control of Daimyo the dog to solve switch puzzles or tear through baddies. The humour is offbeat and full of internet-era winks. Think All Your Base and meme references. But the action is tight, the difficulty is fair, and the ending brings together all the cool twists you could hope for in a true NES love letter. Yeah, Beebiss 2. How does a game that was basically an urban legend end up getting a real deal NES sequel? That's the wild origin of Yeah, Beebiss 2, a homebrew project with a story as quirky as its gameplay. It's a single-screen platformer where you play as one of two Chinese vampire heroes, zapping, absorbing, and blasting your way through 100 frantic levels filled with evil spirits, eyeballs, and tricky traps. Each stage becomes a speedy battle against time and enemy quirks, with just enough weirdness tossed in to keep you guessing, and a soundtrack that mixes old-school NES hooks with jaw-dropping classical remixes. The visuals absolutely pop, with every screen designed to look unique and bursting with charm. Between the smooth controls and the random oddities like blips or CRT overlay effects, yeah, Beebiss 2 delivers a game that's as much a meme tribute as it is an authentic challenge for NES fans and retro co-op lovers. Basse Def Adventures. Moving to the next game, Basse Def Adventures takes platforming and teamwork and then tosses them into a wild, comic-inspired world. You guide Ludo and Simon, two gamers zapped into their TV, and switch between both heroes depending on what kind of jump, shot, or move the level throws at you. Each character has their own strengths, which keeps every screen feeling fresh and loaded with surprises. You'll blast through crystal forests, haunted houses, icy mountains, and even head to space, all while dodging traps and battling enemy swarms. There's advice from an in-game buddy named Pasta, silly dialogue, and clever level design that never lets you get too comfortable. Every stage is different, and there's a bit of strategy behind swapping characters to handle tricky jumps or tougher foes. If you love creative homebrew with personality and a dash of challenge, Basse Def Adventures is quirky, colourful NES fun through and through. Skate Cat. Every time Skate Cat rolls onto the screen, it brings a chill, playful energy. You play as a skateboarding cat, yes, seriously, zipping through wild cityscapes and dodging monsters from another dimension who want to take over the world. Sounds really fun, right? The platforming is simple and tight, but throws in just enough challenge with tricky jumps, falling platforms, and clever bosses by the end of each area. As you progress, you earn new skateboards and unlock extra moves, so every stage brings something new. There's a cool, bouncy soundtrack, and the colours pop with old-school NES charm. Some of the obstacles will trip you up at first, but once you get the rhythm, it's all about speed, reflexes, and smooth moves. What stands out most is the goofy but lovable style. Skate Cat is pure, simple arcade fun with a unique twist, and it's kind of impossible not to smile while playing. Sam's Journey. In Sam's Journey, the NES gets a platformer so packed it almost seems impossible for an 8-bit system. You're steering Sam, a cheerful hero with endless moves through huge, colourful worlds loaded with secrets, shortcuts, and wild power-up costumes. The adventure is split into 3 overworld maps and 27 massive levels, with over 2,000 individual screens to explore. Every area has its own theme, so you'll be leaping from forests to deserts to icy mountains with cool music thumping along. Special costumes aren't just for show. They let Sam wall jump like a ninja, slice foes as a pirate, or even float, dive and throw things. Hidden items and secret passages are everywhere, making exploration just as fun as finishing each level. With smooth scrolling, tons of checkpoints, and a save system right on the cartridge, Sam's Journey is retro NES magic that's easy to play, tough to master, and loaded with stuff to discover. Let's talk about the upcoming NES games. Cronela's Mansion. If you love classic point-and-click adventures like Maniac Mansion, then Cronela's Mansion is an upcoming must-play. This game absolutely nails that retro mystery vibe, plopping you into a sprawling, shadowy manor jam-packed with oddball characters, sneaky secrets, and clever puzzles that never feel out of place. Right away, you're tossed into a dark plot of witchcraft and weirdness, where nothing is quite as it seems, and every new room feels like it's hiding something outrageous behind the wallpaper. The best part? The mansion is literally overflowing with items to poke, combine, and experiment with, making old-school inventory puzzles feel fresh all over again. Cronela herself brings real menace, but the quirky dialogue, random scares, and goofy NPCs keep things balanced between creepy and hilarious. If classic adventures with a mix of laughs and chills are your thing, Cronela's Mansion is like digging up a forgotten NES gem that manages to be familiar, new, and absolutely unpredictable all at once. Former Dawn. There's just no way to prepare for how jaw-dropping Former Dawn is when it first boots up on real NES hardware. At a glance, this feels like some lost RPG that escaped from the Super Nintendo and time-warped into an 8-bit cartridge. There's lush pixel art, ridiculously smooth animations, and yes, massive screen-filling bosses that look like they don't belong on the NES at all. You play as Jaku, a humble hunter who gets wrapped up in a wild mix of sci-fi and fantasy, and you'll spend hours diving into villages, exploring mysterious ruins, and battling everything from corrupted machines to strange monsters. The combat is a slick combo of real-time sword slashing and turn-based strategy, with a second player even able to join in as a helpful cursor. Most mind-blowing, Former Dawn uses a custom expansion chip, delivering Mode 7 style effects, and a super rich soundtrack that almost tricks your ears into thinking the NES was always this powerful. Who says you need the latest console for top-tier gaming? These NES homebrew titles are packed with creativity and challenge. Whether you're a seasoned gamer or a newcomer, there's something here to reignite your love for classic gaming.